Alright, we've got two razors in the back of the house today. The far one is my son's, Damon's, and the close one is our friend's, David's. So, we have a little bit of an issue. The tire. He's been sliding it, I guess, hitting the brakes real hard. So I'm going to put a tire on it. If y'all want to tag along, you can see how to change your tire. Damon's is in a lot better condition because he hasn't ridden it as much and he hasn't had it as long. This one's a little bit, you can see a little bit scratched up, but that's what it's for. That's what it's for, so you can be rough on it and have a good time. Alright, well, we're going to get this in the house and I'm going to start taking it apart. I'm using my cooler like it's a jack stand. I got it up, that should work for now. Got her plugged in. Back there, you can see the red lights on, it's charging. And I'm going to try to take this tire off. I grabbed everything I thought I needed. I got my tool set, which has just about everything, and a Phillips, 2 flatheads, and a pair of pliers just in case. Just gotta start by taking this plastic stuff off so I can get to the chain, and it should be pretty straightforward. You can see the screws here on the side. I'm just going to take this back section off first and see if I have to take the whole thing off or not, and we'll figure that out. Alright, so I discovered that it is 2 pieces like I suspected, with the seam here, and you just take this screw which connects it, has a little set pin on that. You can see the set pin there. And I took all 4 screws out of the centerpiece, and also took the 5th screw out, but you could leave that one in, I guess. But I don't know, you might have to still take that off. But I'm going to see, trying not to take it off, but it's only one more screw. And it's a 15 millimeter, as is most bicycles of this size, well, 20 inch, or actually a lot of bicycles are about 15s. We're all loose, and we're going to see, it looks like it just dropped straight down, and I'm going to wiggle that out of there. And it looks like it just comes down, and then the chain should come free. Give that a little bit of a wiggle. I'm going to need both hands. I quickly discovered that there's a bolt holding that bracket on for the brake assembly. I just need to take that out real quick. And I got an 8 on there pretty good. That's what I figured it was. I got my wrench back there because there's a nut on the back of this. I don't know why they didn't just put a threaded piece on, but I'm just going to secure the nut, and I'm going to use an 8 millimeter socket on the front and 8 millimeter wrench on the back. Alright, that was holding me back. I would recommend doing that first so there's no type of tension on that tiny little bolt. That's the way, it's just not, it just makes more difficulty when you're trying to turn that wrench or hold that wrench in place and the tire's moving on you. But it looks like it's free, and you should be able to just drop it right down. Alright, and that releases the tension on this chain here. I don't know if it releases it enough. I'm going to work with it and see if I can get the chain to come off, or if I have to release the tensioner that is right there. We'll see. I might just pop the chain off the tensioner, and then it should have plenty of slack once I do that. Alright, you see that little slot in there? I stuck a screwdriver over top of that tensioner right there, and I used it as a prying area on that little slot where you can see the light through there. I pried on the tensioner, released it, and was able to get enough slack to pull the chain over top of it, and now it is totally free, and I'm able to just release it very easily. The chain is off, and I'm going to probably disconnect this brake line, and so that way I can work with the tire, get this off. But yeah, it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have to take that cover off and maybe release the tensioner. Yeah, it was a very lightly loaded spring. It wasn't like I was fighting it. Alright, I just took the axle nut off and took the 3 washers off. Here they are. And I just slipped that brake unit right off. It's not going to hurt it. Just slip it off real quick. And I can just slide it back onto this ring. This is the brake disc, brake drum, whatever you want to call it, yes. It's gonna definitely need some grease, as I'm sure you're already screaming at me. Grease that thing, but it still works. Still clicks pretty decent. I'm gonna throw some grease on it, and we're gonna swap this tire out. Somebody loves to skid this. He told me that he was spinning the tire. That's not spinning, that's brakes. Alright, if you've never broken the tire off of the bead before, it's a lot simpler than you think. I mean, you can see this is the bead right here on the rim, and bead for the tire. You just need to pop that over, and you can use a flathead screwdriver, which I'm going to, as you can see, it just comes right up. If you're trying to keep the inner tube that's in there, you need to be very careful, as I have a very dull flathead that this tip broke off of the screwdriver, so it's not sharp. So I can do it without tearing the inner tube, but this inner tube is gone because of the skidding, so I'm just going to push the screwdriver around the edge and work the edge out. And the second edge, the second bead will come off very easily. You should be able to just pull the tire off. You might have to give it a little bit of a pry like this. It'll go right back. You just pry it right off. It's very, very easy. Pries right up. Flexible. Another thing you can do if you want to be more careful, and you can guarantee that you're not gonna. You put that box end wrench in there. I'm using the 8 that I used earlier to take the brake assembly off, and that won't scratch up the finish as bad, and it has a round head, so you're not going to pop anything. And that goes right in there. Just pry it out and slide it around. I'm going to try to do that now. I can't do it one-handed. Alright, I've got it going. I'm using the screwdriver to keep my progress from going back. The first 2 inches I'll give you was pretty hard, but it wasn't crazy. You just had to put some good effort, slide it down that rim, and you can see now it's still in there, but I'm able to easily do it now. Very easily. I could probably do it by hand the rest of the way. See, it's just coming right off. I don't want to lose my progress, so yeah. See, I mean, it's loose now. And then the other side, take that screwdriver out. The other side should be able to just peel it over. Ah, one-handed. Give me that tire. Oh, I'm not gonna do it one-handed. Don't forget, at this point, you're gonna want to take that inner tube out the way. Just undo the valve stem, and then you just pop the valve stem out carefully. Just be careful with that, and then really you can just peel it out of the rim very easily. It comes out pretty easily from that huge gaping area. And that actually made it much easier to get what I want from this tire, and that is for it to come right easily off on this other side, so I don't have to fight it with a pair of screwdriver or pliers, or I mean a wrench. I did that with one hand. Told you it'd come off easy on the other side. Sorry for my feet. I'm not allowed to walk on the carpets. We just steam cleaned them, and I'm gonna go grab the new tire. Hey, Kelly.
Hey.
And here's our tire. Come in this bag package. My helper. And it came in this bag just like this on the porch. Opened it just to inspect. The inner tube was there because I really needed it. And it's a nice fresh tire from Amazon for $18.99. And if you're getting a tire from Amazon, you can see that it's the exact same size. Check this tread pattern. And it's pretty much the same deal. But I noticed the deal with this is it seemed to keep getting in the exact same spot. Because there's a lot more meat down the line. It kept getting lost the traction in this area, and it just got worse and worse and worse. Soft rubber, not made for pavement, which is what I'm pretty sure that is the culprit of that. These tires last pretty long in the dirt. Alright. Alright, there's the old tire. Here's the new hotness. Old tire. New hotness. Now you just want to reverse the process. Set that bead on there real easily. It will go very smoothly on the first one. You might have to fight a little bit on the second little bit. But make sure you put your inner tube in there before you do the second bead. Alright, this fresh tire did take some finessing because it is a little bit tight around that rim. It's not that it doesn't fit, it was just a little bit tight. I had to do a little pry with the screwdriver. Once I pressed it on most of the way, I would say 75–80%. And then I did one little section that I stuck the screwdriver right in the middle of it and popped it over, and it wasn't too bad. I'm going to put the inner tube in there, and then all you have to do is just push it up in there, and make sure you line up the hole. You find the hole in the rim that takes the inner tube, and you get the inner tube, not the valve, through there. And a good tip that my brother taught me, he worked at a bicycle shop, you put a tiny bit of air into that, and it gives it a little bit of shape. Let me put a little bit more. Not a lot. You just don't put much in it. Actually, that might be too much. But I'm gonna let a little bit out. But it just gives it, I don't know, that'll be alright. It gives it a little bit of shape so it lays inside the rim a lot better. And then when you air it up, it doesn't have to do any of that twisting. Alright, don't go crazy about trying to line that valve stem up when you're pressing it in there, because it's not a big deal. Because you can turn that tire, if you can lift it up off of that bead. I can't do it with one hand, but the inner tube is connected to the tire, not the rim. So you move the rim inside the tire, and you can set it where you want it, and then set it into the hole, and then you work the bead. Once you get it lined up, screw your valve stem cap on there, and that'll hold it in place. You can worry about setting your bead in. It won't be too hard at first until you start getting it kind of tight. I'm almost there, just got a little tiny bit, and I did it from using this wrench, sticking it down in there, pry, stick it down another couple inches, pry, being sure to push back that inner tube, and make sure you don't put too much air in it, otherwise it becomes a bubble and creates an issue while you're trying to push it back, pinches between the rim and the tire. It's a little tight. I pushed it the rest of the way with the butt of the wrench. I would say about 75% of the work as far as putting the tire itself onto the bead. I would say I did about 75% of that by hand. And before you air it up, twist the tire on the rim back and forth until it lines perfectly straight up. Then you press down on the back of that valve stem so it doesn't push back before you put that on. If you go to put that valve, the nozzle on, and it pushes it back in, you're going to have to take the tire back apart. The old tire is a NHS MT120, and it's only rated for 45 PSI. And this one is, I'm not sure, I can't really read that name. King Da, that's, I guess, some foreign company. I'm not sure. That company. And this is rated for 60 PSI. She's on and ready to go. I only put it to 40 to 45 PSI. It was a little under 45 because that bike, the 350, has no suspension, as you can see. You working on it, Kaylee? Yeah. Just remember, put the brake on, put the chain on, set the tensioner, and we're going to do backwards from there. Just wanted you to see it. I threw some heavy grease in there. That's heavy bearing grease where you like pack bearings with. And might stick a little bit of grease on that. Actually, that bearing's in pretty good shape. So I think I'm gonna leave it. It's just a little bit dirty. But there's still some dry spots on it. I'm gonna rub it around. Kaylee's helping me out. And that is it. The tire's on there. Thank you for watching.